Hello, I'm Mayor Barbara McMorrow, and on behalf of Deputy Mayor Lester Preston, Committeeman Anthony Amiano, Tom Cook, and David Salkin, I welcome you to From the Mayor's Desk. And we have a great program today, a very special one. If you'll notice, I have lots of papers with me today, so you're going to see my guest and I going through these to make sure that we don't miss anything, because we're going to tell you all about the Friends of the Monmouth County Library. And with me today, I'm so fortunate to have Beth Stamp, who is the president of the Friends of the Monmouth County Library. So we'll start off with probably the most intriguing question. What is the history, and a brief history? It's really not brief, it's really very long, but we'll try to do it brief. We have so much we want to say. You might want to take notes. I don't know, as former teacher, maybe I should say there'll be a test on this, so you want to pay close attention. But a brief history of the Monmouth County Library System.
Well, the Monmouth County Library started in 1922, so it has a long history, and it started with the headquarters, which at that time was in Freehold. It was actually, when I moved here 50 odd years ago, it was in a house on Broad Street, and then it moved 2 or 3 times.
That's right, I know that house, yes.
Right, that corner house
Yes.
on Manalapan and Broad.
That's right.
And the house is still standing, it's a nice house. So there was just the one library, and what they did is they had a major reach out to the community, if you remember the bookmobiles.
Yes.
And the bookmobiles used to go around to different townships and different areas that didn't have libraries. And eventually today there are 13 branches in
Yep,
the
there are
Monmouth
13
County.
branches and 12 member libraries.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
Oh, the difference. It's a very confusing situation. Monmouth County owns 2 of the libraries. That's the headquarters in Manalapan and the big library in Shrewsbury, Eastern Branch. The other towns eventually grew into building their own libraries, but they work in conjunction with Monmouth County for the library to run their libraries, staff, get the books, present the programs. So that's the relationship, and that's why all of those branches and the 2 big ones are all part of the system. We can all go to each other's branches, we can borrow, participate in many events.
So if you have a library card, it allows you to go to any of the branches.
Yes.
The
There
13.
are some towns that have opted to have their own and not be part of the Monmouth County system.
Well, Freehold Township is. I know that we're a member of
Yes.
the Monmouth County Library System, and our closest is the headquarters in Manalapan.
Yes.
That's what we use as our
As you
library,
may,
and it's
yeah.
it's really a
It's
great place.
It's a fantastic place.
People would think that libraries, because of technology, are outdated, and if you haven't been to a library lately, you really should stop in, because it's very updated, and it really addresses the needs of each individual community, as well as the
Well, it's
general.
more than just books and research, like when I was
right,
a young thing.
when we both were, right?
When we both were. Today, libraries function like community centers. In addition to technology, there are computers at all the branches, for somebody to use, as well as the library is as close as the palm of your hand. Because with your library card, you can access all the services. You can hear books, you can borrow books. You really don't need a Kindle, because you can do that on your own computer.
Really?
You can just do so much.
And it's something that, do you find that the people there are our generation, younger generation?
Everybody.
Mixture?
Everybody. The library addresses the needs of the entire community. For instance, if you have a library card, you can access anything on the computer. Take out a book, return a book, reserve a book. I think when you take out a book on the library, on the computer, you've got the same 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then it disappears.
Yes.
So you do have to read it on time.
So it's magical.
Or renew it.
Yeah.
If you want to reserve a book, you can do that online. You need to extend your return date. You can renew the book itself that you physically took out of the library. But the needs of the community, you've got children. They have extensive children's programming. in fact, this is a coloring book that the Friends made available to enhance that children's programming. And it's an adorable book
It is?
with all sorts of things that pertain to the library. How to take care of a book. So you've got the children program. You have teen programs. Teens have done crafts. They have done programs when we had the eclipse.
Really?
The Friends provided the glasses for the community to look at the eclipse.
Well, now, see-
Adults and us,
Yeah.
our generation.
The older adult.
the older adults.
But you mentioned friends of the library. You
Yes.
said friend, and that's what I want to focus on, because I don't think enough people know that you exist, and yet you play such an important part in the function of the library and the outreach to the community. So, who are the Friends? Right.
Well, the Friends was started in 1966 by a group of, first of all, it's all volunteer. A group of volunteers got together who felt very strongly about the library, and contrary to what many people think, Barbara, their taxes don't pay for everything that the library provides. I know there's a line item for library, but it doesn't cover everything. And that's what the Friends like to do. We like to enhance programming or provide something for employees to better their environment, or even furniture or extra things. For instance, if anybody's been to either Eastern Branch or headquarters, there are two magnificent statues,
Yes.
the bronze statues. I'm particularly partial, actually, to the one at the Eastern Branch, which I think we'll have a picture of later on, of a lion with a little child sitting underneath it reading a book. Well, those are major cost factors. The Friends paid for them. The Friends enhance children's programming with coloring books, with refreshments. We do a lot of enhancing, concerts.
The concerts?
Concerts
Many of
galore.
you may be getting these in the mail, and they tell you the different programs that are going on at not only the headquarters, but the other branches
Yes, it does.
of the
Yes, it
library.
does.
And there's so much. If you get a chance, if you haven't attended any of these, you really should, because once you do, you'll want to go back for more.
And it's everything.
Yeah.
There's a large group of folks who like jazz.
Mhm.
And in fact, you may know Jack Livingstone.
Yes.
He was director of the library, and he still runs, every month, every 2 months, a jazz concert at the headquarters.
And they're free.
And they're free, and they're open to the public. You don't even really have to be a member. Shh.
Right. Right.
Because we don't take attendance at the door.
Right.
There's Phil Brucey comes up. He does wonderful entertainment. This Sunday, almost every Sunday between October and the end of June, there is some kind of concert going on at the library.
But you have to get there early. I know that.
Depending on the concert, you have to
Because
get
some of
there
them,
early.
you have Tim McClune comes in,
Tim
and that
McClune.
you have to get there like 2 hours early. 'Cause
And I
it's just
and I
full,
have
so-
and I have pictures of that, and we have a picture from the stage to the audience. That concert twice a year, October and December, brings in between 500 and 600 people.
Yep.
Now the Friends pay for half of that concert.
Really.
Yes, it is. And he gives the library a very reasonable cost,
Yeah.
but there's still a cost, and the budget doesn't cover all of it.
So the Friends pick up the other part of it, and that way
Yes.
it's free to everybody to
Yes.
come and just enjoy it.
Yes, and he's phenomenal.
Yes.
He's
he
just
is.
phenomenal.
He is.
And there's something like that going on all the time for every age group.
Well, that's a very good point, because if you look through these, and if you get these in the mail, and you haven't been looking at them, please do. You'll see that there really is for every age group, and if it's not there, you can go online and you can find
Oh,
out what's
absolutely.
going on.
This
all the
postcard
different-
actually, I guess maybe that's an inducement to become a friend. This postcard goes out to the Friends.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't go out to everybody. So, and this one also generally is geared towards adults. This doesn't mention all the children's programming, but definitely you have to hit the Monmouth County Library website
Yes.
and just see everything that's going on, whether it's Manalapan, Eastern Branch, Howell, Colts Neck, West Long Branch, which I want to touch upon that because, well, we were talking about this confusing system. So we've gotten to the point that these branches have decided to become part of the library,
Right.
but they're not all part of the Friends. So Friends of the Monmouth County Library covers headquarters, Eastern Branch, Homedale has chosen to join with us, and West Long Branch. And we have upcoming projects all over. West Long Branch is 90 years old.
Yes, something finally older than I am. Yes.
And they do have a little area that we felt could be better utilized, and Friends are kind of waiting for some construction to finish at headquarters to see what furniture is available. And we'd like to create a reading lounge
Oh, that would be lovely.
at West Long Branch. At Homedale, well, they're brand new.
Yeah, and it's called Bellworks,
They're in the Bell Works building,
Homedale Library and Learning Center.
and it's a beautiful space.
Brand new.
Brand new. And we've done teen programs there. And we have collaborated with the teen coordinator to help her financially with equipment for those programs. At
And
Eastern
Shrewsbury-
Branch,
We have, yes, Eastern Branch, that's just what I was going to. They just celebrated their
50th. That
50th
building is
anniversary.
50. And they had a big to-do, and we were part of it, and we helped fund it, and we've, like I said, we paid for that big, beautiful statue, but that was many years ago.
I remember the dedication of it. It really is a beautiful piece of artwork.
It really is.
And people would say, well, why'd you spend the money on something like that for the library? Because really, that's the essence of the library, and if you saw how many people stop, and the
And look at
children.
it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
Many, if you're there long enough, you see them taking pictures of their children next to it or someone. It really is just beautiful. And the fun fact about the headquarters in Manalapan, that it was donated, the land was donated with the
Yes.
proviso that it be finished within 2 years, and it was finished within
Yes.
2 years, and it
Actually,
opened.
the land was, I believe, donated by Manalapan Township.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yes.
And what a great gift
Oh,
to
my
the,
goodness.
to the county, and it opened in 1986,
Yes.
1986, yes.
Yes.
So, I know
They
that,
just celebrated recently their 30th
yeah,
anniversary.
goes by quickly. And it keeps adapting, and the Friends keep helping the libraries to keep up with the times.
Oh, absolutely.
what they
But
do.
One of the things I want to make very clear about the Friends is that while our sole purpose is for the benefit of the library, we don't do anything for anybody else. It's library. But we are independent of the library. We are a 501c3, which means donations are tax deductible. It also means we're very transparent. The entire board is volunteer. So the cost of maintaining the Friends is very low. Basically, there's no rent. There's accounting fees and professional fees and those kinds of things. But we get to decide which things we will fund. So we're very responsible. We look at everything we're asked for and saying, what is the cost benefit? We're not going to put donated funds into something that costs $500 and gets 5 people attending.
Right.
You know, there's a better use
For that money?
for that money. And it really is an opportunity for people who want to join the Friends and join the board, because we could always use, more members, to have an influence also as to how those funds are used. If we feel that a program, and I guess I'm the chief bad guy, because I'll say no. I mean, I have a history, that in nonprofit, and I'll say no. That's not cost efficient.
Well, you have to.
Somebody has to
Yes.
say no sometimes.
Yes, because there's so much, that's why I was looking at my notes just then, because there's so much that the library does and that the friends do. And so just the list you had given me about what libraries do.
Mhm.
They give people, we said computer access, more bandwidth, and security programs. It all costs money. These are why we need to donate.
And this is
to
why the
help.
budget really sort of, and I guess this is common, I'm sure you've seen it in schools. Some things always take priority over others,
Yes.
and it's not a waste of money for the Friends to help finance, let's say, art.
Right.
Because they've had to pull that
That's
out
right.
of that budget to have technology,
Mhm.
which people crave.
Right. And yet art is so important, so you fill that gap.
We fill a gap.
And then
Yes.
libraries offer community career counseling, resume help.
Yes.
That's a cost to it, even though
We
they're
also
grants.
offer high school students who very often, in the honor societies, they need community credits.
Yes, they do.
So very often they volunteer at our events and they get their community credits.
That's a very good thing to know, because sometimes people ask me. And the township, I mean, we have what we have, but we're limited. That's a great thing
Absolutely.
to do.
And they have a group of teens who are in the high school, and they meet. I don't know their schedule, but that's a way of connecting and finding out, what's available, and what's available perhaps for community credits.
So if a teen is watching, a young person is watching, and you need to
Or
do-
the parents.
or the parents who need to find a place for their teenagers to do the community service, contact your library.
Oh, absolutely.
And they might be able, libraries offer coding classes for tweens and teens.
Please don't ask me
Oh,
about coding.
see,
I
okay.
just don't know a thing about it.
All right,
I know it's the new upcoming thing in computers. The kids are doing it.
yeah.
We're not.
Right, okay. And anyone
And
watching
I know
this
that
who
the
knows
Friends
me,
support
well, yeah, the Friends support it, and we're happy that they do, whatever it is that they're doing. At libraries average 300 children's programs per month, but staff is needed to help with that.
Yes.
And most branches are open 70 hours per week, but staff is needed to keep these hours as well. And I read someplace in here that sometimes Friends help with that as well.
We do. We can help with volunteers. We help the libraries very much with volunteers at their book sales.
Oh,
which
talk
goes
about the book
inside-
sale.
Which are a great opportunity for the community who buys books to get books at like 50 cents, $1. That would be $30, $40, $50 books.
And people can, people call me and ask me, I have books, they're downsizing, moving,
Yes.
whatever, and they have all these books, they don't wanna throw them out, and I agree. So they could donate
They
it
can
to the
donate,
library,
yes.
and then the Friends use those books for their book sale.
Right, the libraries, generally Eastern Branch has 2 a year. In addition to ongoing, because there's always a shelf or there's something in each branch that on an ongoing basis, you can stop by and just see a small smattering of books that you can purchase for 50 cents or $1, or children's books sometimes a quarter. They're phenomenal, and they help raise the money. That's part of where Friends get their money.
How would I know when they would be?
You go to
online?
the website.
The website would
Online.
have it?
Yeah, they have one coming up at Eastern Branch, I believe in May,
Okay.
and we help them get ready for it. We help staff it, because somebody has to sit in that room.
Right.
A couple of people, and you just go in and get your books.
Yeah.
And, and yes, it is donations. I believe they prefer hardcover donations. However, it's everything from current. After all, people buy novels, you read it once.
Right.
Maybe if it's a classic, you'll keep it, but how many times are you gonna read
Right.
the popular? And it's the same thing for the library. The library buys a certain number of books. 3 years later, they may not need as many of that one book.
Right,
As they
because
purchase.
others have come in and they have extras
And,
now.
and you have to rotate.
Yeah.
You have to, take out some of the older books to make room for the newer books that people want to read.
And that's an ongoing process.
Yes, it is.
I know
Thinning
that
out is ongoing.
even school libraries, or media centers, or whatever we call them today, right? They would have to do that.
Thin out.
So I'm just so glad that there's still real books out there.
I
because-
like a real book.
Yes,
like a
I
older
know.
book.
We're still of that generation. Although I will tell you, some of my friends' children or grandchildren like to have a book
Well,
also.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, they do.
That's good.
So hopefully, so now, how would I, if I was interested in becoming a member of the Friends of the Monmouth County Library, how would I do that?
Well, for our organization, like I said, different branches will have their own, and they'll have a membership form. We have membership forms at headquarters, Eastern Branch, Homedale, and West Long Branch for joining the Friends. You can go online. We have a Facebook page, Friends of the Monmouth County Library. In fact, there's loads of pictures on there of the different events
Oh, that'd be
that
fun
we've
to see.
supported. And you just sign up. We send you a membership card and thank you very much. And by the way, what are you interested in doing? What did you do in your working life, or what do you do in your working life that might transfer to a need that either the Friends or the library may need? For instance, right now we really need members who have a desire to really become involved on hands-on with our board or with some of our committees. I'm short board members. I
Mhm.
need board members.
Board members for the Friends?
For the Friends,
Mhm.
yeah. You need to have an odd number, and I would ideally like to have either 7 or 9 people on the board, because, listen, you hold meetings all the time.
Right.
Somebody can't make it one
Right.
night, and if you don't have enough people, you can't do business.
Right.
Right, you need that quorum.
Yes. So if anybody's watching and is interested in becoming a member of the Friends of the Monmouth County Library, they can go online, they can go to the library.
Absolutely.
And they can apply. And that's really important, not only to be a member, but what can you do to, what gifts do you have personally, I was a teacher, so I might be able to, goodness knows, not do technology, I didn't teach that. But
Mhm.
I could maybe staff something, because I would be
Oh,
aware.
that would be nice, would you like
Yeah.
that?
We're
I'm
members
always
of the Friends,
recruiting.
we are, in full disclosure, we are members of it.
Okay.
And it's just such a great organization, it really is. And if people wanna make a donation to support it, I know we're going to have the information up at the end of the show, but you're a 501c3,
We're
I
a
wanted to just add that
501c3,
again.
Friends of the Monmouth County Library. It can be mailed to us, the Friends at the Manalapan headquarters,
Mhm.
at 125 Sims Drive, Manalapan,
Mhm.
and it goes into the Friends mailbox. It's that simple.
It's just such a great organization, it really is.
Barbara, I have lived here now for 52 years, same house, I'm a dinosaur. I never knew about the Friends until about 3 years ago. And because of my background with nonprofits, and because the library is very good to me, giving me space for my other group, they asked if I could help them, You always need to think about succession planning, and you can't just count on people who are retired
Mhm.
to fill these empty spaces, because we attrition out.
Right.
So, we would really like to have some folks who have, young children or teenagers. They are the next generation of board members and leaders for the Friends. So somebody asked me, could you help them out? They need a little help. Do you know someone? I said, well, I don't really know anyone, but what do they need?
Mhm.
And then, quite frankly, I got sucked in.
Yes, and then you were. And
I
then
got pulled in, and
you
here I am.
Right, and now you're
Right.
the president of it. But a question, and you may not know the answer. If somebody's watching the show and it is not their town, because this goes to other town, is not a member of the Monmouth County Library System, could they still be a member of the Friends
Oh,
of the Monmouth
absolutely.
County Library? Okay, so you don't have to reside in a town
No,
in which the library
to
is a
be
member.
part of the Friends.
Right.
No, not at all.
Friends is separate, and you could still,
Absolutely.
okay. I
Absolutely.
just, because there might be people out there who would love to join and thought perhaps that they could not, but they
And they can
actually
also always, they may not be able to take out materials on the computer or in person, so far as books and that type of thing, can always come to concerts.
Yes, that's right.
Concerts. We have people who come from Monmouth.
You also have movies. There's concerts.
There's
movies.
there's every Tuesday there's movies at Manalapan, different days for different branches, and very often they're very new movies.
They are. In fact, sometimes because we're busy and I can't get to see them, and I go, okay, I hope it comes up in one of the branches. And we've gone to different branches, in
Right.
fact,
Yeah.
to see a movie.
Yeah.
And it's very nice, and you get
It
to
is
meet new
nice.
people, and you get to see a different library, and the Friends are just a wonderful organization, and I hope that our viewers maybe will be interested in either becoming a member or donating to the Friends of the
The other
Monmouth
thing I'd
County
like to
Library.
point out is you brought up something of what you might have, the individual might
Right.
have to give to the library or the Friends. But I'd like to point out that it goes the other way also. What are you interested in? We are just such an open-minded, not only an open-minded organization, but our interests are so open that I would say to you, if we were, having this discussion about you becoming more active, I say, what are you interested in? What brings you satisfaction? And if you tell me you like reading to children, we would put you in touch with the children's librarians. How can Barbara help with children programming? Because when you're doing something you feel passionate about, you have an ownership,
Yes,
and that's where you get your satisfaction.
and we have so many people with talent out there
Yes,
in the
we do.
public that could help many other people who use our library. But you mentioned something just in passing, but I want to just bring that up if we can. You mentioned about your group at the library, and I know that it's called the Lost and Found Bereavement Support Group. Yes, I have that correct. And maybe in the few moments remaining in our program, you could just touch briefly on that for us.
Well, 10 years ago, almost exactly to the day, May 1st, my younger son passed. And my husband and I had a difficult time finding the kind of support group that would work for us. We really, the horrible side of the loss, we didn't need any help remembering that or verbalizing it. We needed, how are we going to put one foot in front of another at a time when you almost don't want to get out of bed. And my husband had passed 2.5 years after my son, and I just knew if I didn't look at grief differently, I was going to be very ill, or I'd die. And I thought about it very, I took off my grief hat and I put on my other professional hat, and I said, what would I do if it was somebody else's problem? We're so good at solving other people's
Yes.
problems.
Absolutely.
And I said, okay, people always say keep busy. Well, I don't like keeping busy with stupid work. If you don't engage me, I can grieve and wash my shower floor,
Right.
type of thing. And I thought about, all right, so I have to keep busy, but I have to keep busy meaningful. And I have to do things in spite of the fact that I might not feel like it. And I started making myself a step-by-step plan, and then I thought, I can't be so unusual. Other people must be feeling the same way. And I went to the library, and they were very good at giving me space to hold
Very
this
nice.
group. In the past, I meet once a month. Past couple of months, I've had 25 people, different losses,
All ages?
all ages. Some, like myself, have lost children, some spouse, some parents.
What about pets? Anyone? Because I know that's an awful loss
No,
sometimes.
nobody has come.
Just wondered.
I think there are certain losses that you can combine. And I didn't know, by the way, if I could combine, and by the way, I'm not professional at this.
Right.
I'm not a
It's
social
just a
worker.
space for people to talk.
This is a self-help group, and sometimes I cry with them,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they cry with me. I thought at one time it would be very, very difficult to combine all loss and the loss of a child. very different. I still think that there is a unique setting for that. But I didn't have enough people, so I did combine the group, and it seems to be working. I've had about 25 people at the last meeting, and people get to say whatever they want. But we always, at some point, take a problem and try to solve it.
Good.
People very often have problems. What do I do with the clothing? I can't get rid of the clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm very big on vocabulary. Stop saying I can't. Say, I can't yet.
Mm-hmm.
Leaves the door open that what you feel you can't do today, you can do next week.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say, okay, clothing. Could you get rid of the underwear? I don't know anybody who feels emotionally attached to their spouse's
Right.
undergarments.
So
So
it's a
sometimes
step.
it's a step, and very often, you take one step, and then you're able to go forward. And that's what we concentrate on, trying to solve
When
problems.
do they move? Meet, excuse me. When do
We
they
meet the third Wednesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. at the headquarters branch in Manalapan.
And people can just show up.
People
They
can
don't
just
have
show up. There's no religious affiliation. There's no cost. And if you want to speak, you get to speak. If you don't want to speak, you can sit and listen. I always tell people, even people who can talk need other people to listen.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true.
And the library has been very good at giving me the space for that.
They really are very community oriented,
Very.
people oriented.
Very.
There's just so much more we could talk about, not only about grieving, about the library, about so many of the things, you know. But I have to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're doing a wonderful job with the Friend. I know you've taken it in a direction that no one thought it could go. You've really made it a very vibrant
Thank you.
group. But as you say, you need more
Yes.
people, so anybody who'd like to join, please do. Or if you'd like to donate, please do. And if our show is reaching anyone who's going through a terrible loss, please know that you can also reach out to the library as well.
Yes,
And there is a place for you there. They really do have so many different programs going on
it's
that
so varied.
that there is a place for everyone in our
I think
libraries.
so.
And I'm very grateful that we still have libraries
Oh, absolutely.
and that it has adapted to the modern world such as it is.
Yes.
Although I do find it comforting to go in and still find books on shelves. I do. A lot of the libraries, the books are gone and it's all just computers, but I know that's the way of the world. It is.
And we just go along for the ride.
That's right. Well, I thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
And thank you also not only for being on the show, but truly for all that you do. I know you're very involved all the time with helping people.
Thank
You wear many hats. We only talked briefly about
Yes.
two that you wear. So on behalf of all the people you help, I want to thank you. You're a very special person and you made
Thank
our
you.
program very special.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank
Thank you. And so until next time, I'm Barbara McMorrow saying stay safe and be well.